Hello, light workers, beautiful people. Oh, boy, does it take me a while to do a transmission. A little bit about how I get this is I receive downloads all day, pretty much all day, from Spirit, and a lot of times Spirit, especially lately, keeps saying, do a video, do a video, do a video, and it's like, I have a job and I have things that I have to take care of too, and but my body literally, like my back and everything literally aches until I get this information out. It's like I'm holding it inside of my body, inside of my chakras, and until I transmit it to you, it just sits there and stagnant, and it's like, get me out, but then I get downloads about a whole like list of different things, and when I get it in the moment, it's like I'm in the middle of something, I can't do a video right away, so then I kind of lose it, and it's like, it would have been a really good thing to talk about. But right now I just connected with Spirit for a while, and it takes me a while just to even like figure out what avenue I want to do with you guys, or what I want to say that's coming to me and what's most important. But I asked Mother Mary and Jesus to come with me on this little journey, this little video, and I also asked Spirit of, my higher self and the Spirit of Ascension to come with me so that I can talk to you about what's most important right at this time, whatever information. A lot lately I've been getting like to do an advanced video here and there, or like a list of advanced videos with about energy and drawings that I do in colors and all that stuff. But then there's another level of people who are just beginning their evolving, and I remember when I was at that phase, and it's also good to have guidance from somebody who's been there too. And Spirit's kind of been calling me to also do basic videos where I tame down all that advanced information, and I just basically give the start of Ascension and what it means, and kind of, I don't want to say dumb it down because that sounds bad, but like 3D it down where I can kind of hook up with people who are still half asleep, and they'll understand it and they're not going to run from it. So eventually, like, that's what I kind of want to do in the future, is to do kind of levels of videos, different levels. But this one is about creation, and basically like Adam and Eve and God and the creation story in the Bible. And I got this transmission today. I've been told this. Okay, hold on. I just gotta, acclimate myself to the energies and get myself in that space so that I can produce this to you. So hold on. In the beginning, there was God, source, whatever you want to call it, creation, I would call it. But also in the beginning, there was a blank slate. Circle that goes round and round and round of creation. We are towards the end of this era of creating, and God was basically just like us at its creator status, and was able to create anything that God wanted, and God knew how to create anything that God wanted that God's soul wanted, that was good for God. And so he created a beautiful garden, of which was something that it always wanted, was this beautiful Garden of Eden with lots of green trees, lots of plants, lots of red roses, lots of beautiful things going on. And God didn't want to be alone in his creation, so he created others who were like him to enjoy the fruits of his labor, which was his Garden of Eden. So he brought in his Adam and Eve, his people, and they were created out of the likeness of him, but did at that point not have the knowledge of him. So they were a brand new slate of the same source. So they were his beginning image of himself, with a blank slate, no memory. God at that point was already evolved and already knew everything, basically knew exactly what was good for him, his soul, and what wasn't, and was then able to create a beautiful world because he had stored memories inside of him as he already went through his shadow work. Source went through the shadow work of Source in order to know what Source wanted and what Source didn't want. So Source was already a complete individual. God, if you will, was already a completed individual who created these two souls as a likeness of himself, looking like himself, but they could not have the knowledge and memory that Source had at the beginning, because you have that. You have to start with a blank slate. So on the inside, they started with a blank slate, knowing, literally not having these same memories or experiences as Source. But Source wanted it that way because Source went through a lot of pain. Source went through a lot of trials and tribulations in order to become a creator Source, and knew exactly what was good for humans and what they wanted, and put them there because he already knew. And the innocence that they had was that they did not realize ultimately they could be a creator themselves. But in order to do that, you have to go through many, many trials and tribulations and darkness in order to see the path that is truly meant to be yours. So he took them and put them here and wanted them to appreciate what he gave them, because they did not have to go through the pain of this creation, the pain of birthing a world that is beautiful and his children. He went through the pain in order to be able to create those two, or his world. And so he thought, what a beautiful gift to give Adam and Eve is a blank slate where they could just run and play all day. And they did that. They had fun. They enjoyed the fruits of his labor for quite some time. And then they started to get bored, and they started to think. And the process started to begin inside of them of creation. They started to eat from that tree, which is internal. It's an internal wanting that they didn't quite know why, but they wanted something more than what they had. But was that they wanted to be a God, to be like Source. And they knew that something was missing inside of them that wasn't quite like Source. And so they were told, hey, you could go create. They got that spark, like you could go create your own world. And they started to realize this. And God said, no, no, no. Because once you become like me, exactly on the inside, outside, everywhere, once you start to want to become like Source, like God, it comes with consequences. You are going to have to go through that darkness. And I know how painful that was, says God, says Source. So I gave you this fruit, I gave you this world, I gave you everything that I created out of my trials and shadows and tribulation, and now you want to create your own. And he said, you don't want to create your own. You want to stick in the reality that I gave you. But Adam and Eve said, we are individuals, we are our own selves, and we want to go create. And he said, okay, if you go and you want to create your own world, you want to have that labor of birth, of creation, then you are going to have to go through trials and tribulations, as I did, in order to become a God, become enlightened. And so, that's your choice. You're making that choice right now. And they said, yes, because ultimately everything grows, everything evolves, everything creates, everything starts to want something different, to want something more. And so it wasn't that Adam and Eve did anything wrong. It was their nature to want something more. And they knew they wanted to create their own thing. They knew that this is God's creation and it's beautiful. I love it. It's beautiful. But, it's not quite for me. There's something more for me. And boom, that's when they decided that they would create. And he said, okay, I'm going to give you this right. I'm going to give you internally the system, the ability to create, but you're going to have to start out in your shadows, in your lower chakras. You're going to have to start in survival mode. And what's going to happen, the beasts are going to start to come out. You're going to start to see them, because your mind will create them before your mind has knowledge that it doesn't want to choose them, that it can create. So if they had pain, they didn't have pain. They didn't go through pain, but now they're going to have pain. And they're going to create beasts out of their pain. They're going to create a reality, animals, whatever it is, the negative, any aspects, they're going to create it. And so he said, when I give you this ability to create, you're going to fall into this blind darkness where you don't know you're creating. And you're going to create a whole bunch of trauma that is completely unnecessary. You're going to create wars. You're going to create pain. You're going to create struggle. You're going to judge each other, which is why suddenly they had clothes on and weren't comfortable with themselves. You're going to create all of this stuff because it's like a school that you have to go in order to learn how to become your God realized individual self. You can't just be like God instantly without having the experience of the lower dimensions, without having the experience of your brain creating chaos. It's just the way the brain works. The brain is very logical, and it doesn't think in terms of, I should just stop creating this negativity. Or it just, at the beginning stage, it just does not know that it has that option to turn off the beasts of the world, to turn off the negativity in the world. The brain has to learn. The brain learns through repetition. So okay, bingo, we get Adam and Eve get this brain suddenly. They get this whole system that's hooked up to this brain, and they get this skin surrounding them because they don't want people to see the real them when they are creators, because look at, they're ashamed of, at first you're ashamed of what you're creating. It's not good. It's a little tough to explain, but I hope you're following me. So boom, Adam and Eve start to create, and they have this brain that has a logical system of, I learn by repetition, I learn by repetition, I learn by repetition, I learn by repetition, I learn, you know. And when your brain sees something, it will just automatically repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. And so that's like the lower dimension where you don't really know what's happening to yourself, but you're just creating. You can create something very scary by really not knowing this knowledge. So, but then eventually just evolution takes over and you start to want more again. So they're in this lower level, they're creating all this hell, basically, all this trauma. They're separated from each other because they can't see love anymore, and are very blind because they're fully operating out of their brain at first. They're just logical. They don't have all their systems hooked up quite yet. So then all of a sudden they're evolving into the next level. An ascension happens numerous times till you get to the grand ascension, the grand awakening, and then you become your like God yourself up in the sky. But you have to want that first, like really, really, truly want that. So we're still working on it. We're still working on our belief that we can have that. But anyways, you start low and you work your way up. So ascension happens, and the lower levels, sometimes they receive a catastrophe, and the people who are not quite ready to evolve, whose systems aren't ready to evolve yet, they will go away and they'll just start over, because we're creating people now. So there's multiple people going on here, not just Adam and Eve. They created, now these people create, so there's a lot of people going on. We're all doing the same thing. So we raise up to the next level, the next chakra, right? And then we start to create out of a knowledge, a different kind of knowledge. This next world, we start to create out of what we learned we didn't want in the last. We take the memory of the last level with us, see, and we start to create a new world. And we take the memory of the shadows of the last level, what we didn't like. So the first dimension, we come along up to the second one, and we start creating out of remembering, having an unconscious remembering of our shadows. We're like, oh, that didn't work for us before, so we're going to choose a different way. So boom, 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 we go along, we do this for a while, and then we realize, I could have something better. I want something more. Because we start to fall again. We start to lose our balance. Just like in a video game, you're leveling up, you're getting rid of the bad guys, and every time you go back, there's one less bad guy in your vision, in your view. Or like some games where every time you go through a level, you kill all the bad guys, and you do all your work, the hard work, and the bad guys are gone. Then when you come back, you can just cruise through that level and go to the next one because all the bad guys are gone already. But then the next level is going to get a little bit more challenging. You're going to have a little bit more bad guys in your vision. The next chakra system that you're learning through So then you start to learn and learn through your mistakes, your trials, and your tribulations. You raise up to this chakra, and then you, some people evolve. Then again, the wheat is taken out of the chat. Like the ones who are ready to evolve will keep going up, 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 and that world will get destroyed. And then again, the ones who did not pass or who are not ready will just start that level over again until they are. So it's like a repeat cycle in that level until they're ready. So then they come up and they're like working out of this chakra now. And they, excuse me, I just had a text. So they come up and they're working out of this chakra now. And then they are say they come up, they're in the heart chakra now. They learn from the root chakra, they learn from the sacral chakra, they learn from the this is gonna look really bad, the other chakra. And then they come up to the heart chakra, right? And they're learning more stuff. But they eliminated all the shadows already from the bottom. They remember the shadows, so they're not going to go through those same shadows. They already killed the bad guys. They already took care of the shadows from the lower chakras and dimensions. So now they're learning, hey, I can work from the heart. Like maybe I could try love. Maybe I could try what this center is giving me. So then they work through this center. They remember the shadows from the past, and all these people are living in a world that they're trying to make. It's ultimately about creating the world that you want, and that's what we're doing. We're working out of our shadows into creating what we want. We chose to do this. We could have sat in our innocence at Adam and Eve stage and not had the system of creation in our bodies. But we chose, we want to be creator gods, so we had to go through these trials. So, I mean, it's just what it is. We didn't want to sit there in Adam and Eve land anymore. We wanted to create. So now we're creating, we're in our heart chakra, we're at that level now. And we're seeing things, and we're starting to see things in a slightly different way. Towards the end of that cycle, we're like, oh, this is what works for love, and this is what doesn't work. And so then we decide at some point that we're going to boost up to the next level. Ascension up, ascension up. I can feel the energy rising as I speak about it. The ascension up. And so once we are done with this level, and we're like, we start to question things again and be like, oh, I know there's a better way. There's got to be a better way than the way that we're living, because too much heart has made this happen, too much chaos and this. So we learn just like in a school. We learn just like in a video game. We learn. And now we boost up and we're going through the throat chakra. And so then we learn through the throat. What do we want? We're getting close when we're up here. We're getting super close. Here we're learning how to conquer the masculine energy, to get rid of that Adam's apple. We're conquering it and balancing. This throat chakra has a lot to do with the balancing act. And in my meditations lately, I've been pulled to focus a lot on that balancing of energy, because my back will hurt and I'm like, I gotta raise up on one side. I can feel it once, and it feels good. Like stretch that spine, raise that up. All of this is hurting right now, and it's because I'm learning my throat chakra, how to open things up and how to speak to you guys. And it's not easy sometimes. Sometimes I get criticized about it, and it's not easy to speak of the higher dimensions when a lot of them are still in the lower throat dimension. Most people are stuck here right now, and we're raising up as light workers. We're not in that anymore. We could see the third eye, which is an opening to, it's like we're starting to birth our world. We're like a baby when it's coming out. They're starting to see that new world, the light that's coming in, like a baby being born head first. We're starting to see the spiritual light realm, and we're getting closer, closer, closer. So we're really connected to both of these chakras right now. And like I said, this realm is learning how to balance the masculine and the feminine, and it's like sometimes at first it's just friction between these two energies, like chaos and drama. People are so confused, don't know what's going on, and so it can be a tough realm, and especially a tough realm when your energy is up here and you're starting to feel your third eye, and you're starting to come into your spirituality, and you're starting to learn all of this, and you're trying to speak your truth about it in this realm. And a lot of people just aren't open to it yet, and they're like, I haven't even opened up my spiritual energy yet. What the fuck are you talking about? But we are going to get to a point, and that's this ascension event of this realm. We're going to get to a point where more people are right up here, enough people are here that that shift is going to start to happen. Well, it already did, but that shift is going to happen immediately. And then guess what happens to these lower realms? They crash. There is a ending of a society. There is an ending in this realm. And then what happens when we end this realm? The ones who are ready to evolve, and the ones who see the other chakra, they could see it in their mist, they could see that spirituality. Those ones are going to evolve and get a different reality. And we're starting to get really close to getting rid of all the bad guys. Like, this reality is super close to the one where the bad guys no longer exist anymore. We can just run through our levels and take what we want from our levels and power up and do whatever we want. But we're still working on the bad guys. We're moving up. The ones who are not moving up and are not ready, and who really cannot hear our spiritual truth when we speak it through this chakra, the ones who, who they are, the ones who turn away when you start talking about this stuff, they are going to just crumble down and fall back down to this dimension again and start working through it again until they're ready. So, our creator, our ultimate creator, God, our teacher, he's just watching us, waiting for maybe 144,000 to be ready to see this. And then he's going to, just like Noah's Ark and ends of civilizations and dinosaurs ending and all of that, he's going to create some kind of, he's going to put the hammer down. He's going to create some kind of ending to that realm, to this realm. And then boom, out of our existence goes the ones who need more work. It's not there's anything wrong with anybody. There's nothing wrong with anybody. It's just they need more work, and they need to go through this level again, maybe a few times. Like in Mario, you get better and better. Some people aren't as good at Mario, and some people are really good. So but every time you play it, you get better and better and better. So you can't you're not gonna look at that Mario player and say, hey, why do you suck? Why don't you get it like I do? No, you just let them learn at their own pace. Let them have fun. That's what it's supposed to be. Have fun with it. At this point, we're almost gotten rid of the bad guys. We're so close that we're getting to that trinity where we deleted the bad guys and bounced on all their heads and got rid of them, and we know what we want to see in our existence based on beating our shadows. And so we're almost there, and then we could just chill and enjoy our creation, enjoy the world that we birthed. because like the third eye is like the birth. We're coming through the canal, we're being birthed. Once we get that spirit crown, that crown on top of our head, that illumination, once we get past this little bitty chakra right here, which goes really fast, just like the baby's birth. Once he sees the light, it goes really fast. Once we get there, we'll be birthed into the crown chakra, and boom, that's the world that we created for ourselves, for humanity, for our souls. Our souls then have evolved to God status, and we can join God and Mother Mary. I don't know what it's going to look like exactly. I'm not there yet, because I wouldn't be speaking to you if I was. But I am speaking to them, and then speaking to you, which is right here. So, I'm getting close. And if you're understanding what I'm saying, you're there too. Right here. We're close. Like, I can see the light. You can see the light. I wonder what it's going to be like when we completely live in an existence that we created for our own soul. I wonder what it's going to be like when we can just relax and we don't have to push anymore. We don't have to create, because creation works for us. At the bottom, we're struggling to create through our brain, through our mind. And we have to go. It's like we inherently know that we're working on something, so we are trying to kill the bad guys, and there's a lot of them. And then we go up and up and up and up, and we can just relax more and more and more. Now, when we get our crown, our world is already created for us, the world that we want to live. So we don't have to push anymore. We don't have to strive anymore. We don't have to try to be at the top. We don't have to try anything. We just sit back and let our creation that we created through many millennia and lifetimes, we let it work for us. And that's the grand awakening. What I would say, our journey never ends. So even once we reach our God status, God's working on, I'm sure, another plan out there. We just can't see it yet. It's probably us, he's working on us. Maybe then once we get up here, we could create our little people and work on them. But yeah, so we're constantly evolving, but now we're at this status where creation is pushing through us instead of us struggling, trying, reaching, striving, and working to become this creator source. So you guys, we are seriously seeing the light. We're coming through that crown chakra, and everything is symbolism. So once in the Bible, he said, he cursed it's not really a curse, but he said, Adam and Eve, you're going to have to birth your physical child out of your body before you can create your world child out of your third eye. Well, it's all the same process. You're creating your physical here, but then once you get to spiritual enlightenment, you're birthing a world through here. And our world is seeing the light. Just picture a world that you created. Now, take a deep breath. I have to go to work soon. Picture the world that you created, pushing through your chakras right now, your third eye, coming out of you. It's your perception of the world. So once you perceive the world in such a beautiful, enlightened, and relaxed way, and it's the world that you want to perceive, then that's your baby. That's your world. That's everything in your perception is your baby. You birthed it yourself. Then you're not living in God's world anymore that He created for us. We're living in the baby that we created for ourselves, our own world. And so it's an amazing thing once you realize it, like this world that we create is inside of us. And it says it in so many places, so many doctrines, that really God, the key is inside of you. And so the world that we're creating, we're birthing, is when it comes to completion, it comes out through us, through our third eye, and we can see it. And then we become, it surrounds us. It becomes our world. It becomes our earth. It becomes our existence, our perception. And we birth it ourselves. You birth it yourself. And once you realize this whole process, your life can just kind of go on autopilot and relax. All right, guys, I have to go to work. I'm on a break, and Source has been like pushing me to do a video, and I just had to do it. And I had no idea at the beginning of this what I was gonna say, but it just came out of me, and hopefully it made sense. So go create your reality and your beautiful baby, your beautiful world. Love you guys all. Bye. Mwah. Namaste.